An Alabama education official has been forced out of her job by the state's Republican governor because apparently, well,
the wokers.
She's too woke, of course. Now, on Friday, Governor Ivey had compelled Barbara Cooper to tender her resignation. Again, she was one of the top education officials, specifically for education for younger children, because she refused to support a ban on a teacher's resource guide. So wait, what's wrong with the guide? Apparently too woke. Now, the guide, which promotes inclusion of various kinds of families and acknowledges the reality of racism in the nation's history, was denounced again by the governor as woke. Too woke. Oh, how dare you? How dare you teach that there was actually racism in this country's history? Woke. Yeah. All right. Now, funny enough, for a party that loves to point out that Lincoln was a Republican, because it's true, he was, and that Democrats in the day were the party of KKK. Now, at that time, at certain points in time of United States history, that happened to be true. Now, that, of course, changed, especially in the 1960s, which probably explains why they don't want anybody looking into history up after that point, around the civil rights era. I'm just saying. Just saying. They might actually realize that it is the Republicans. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to let Lindsey Graham take this one away.
The Republican Party's racist.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. They don't want people to find that out. More details. Now, the text, widely used by early childhood educators, actually informs teachers that early education system is not immune from the forces of systemic and institutional racism. And embedded in the history and the development of the United States. Now, that is undoubtedly true. Look, there is no part of society that is untouched by institutional racism if you're the one that happens to be receiving that racism. That's why it is systemic. That's why we need to do something about that. You know, change those systems or dismantle those systems entirely and rebuild them without the racist components. But you know what? Well, whenever you bring that up to one of these people, the response is,
can't let that happen.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the guide also notes that early childhood programs also serve and welcome families that represent many compositions, children from families, e.g. from all families, e.g. single parent, grandparent-led, foster, LGBTQIA+, need to hear and see messages that promote equality, dignity, and worth, states the resource guide. But again, apparently the right wing looks at that and says,
can't let that happen.
It's woke. The woke. How dare you want equality? Dignity and worth, especially for gay people? Woke. Woke. Let me give you a quote here. This is from a spokesperson from Kay Ivey's office. This is Gina Mayola. She called this guide, quote unquote, disturbing. Disturbing! She said the glossary, quote, includes equally disturbing concepts that the Ivey administration and the people of Alabama in no way, shape, or form believe should be used to influence school children, let alone 4-year-olds. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me get to that. She also noted that that copies of the text have been removed from all classrooms in the state. But here's the thing about that. This is not a textbook. This is not being taught to 4-year-olds. This is not a curriculum. This is the teacher's guide. It's for the teachers. The teachers will read this and then use these concepts inside to craft lesson plans. That's it. And by the way, I've got the name of the book. It's the National Association for the Education of Young Children, Developmentally Appropriate Practice Book, 4th edition. The NAEYC, National Accrediting Board that supplies materials and performs reviews for educational institutions and teachers nationwide, states on its website that the organization promotes high-quality early learning for all children, birth through age 8, by connecting practice, policy, and research. Oh, well, I see the problem now. They're using research. They're using facts. We don't like that in Alabama. No. Now, the governor's office in a press release cited 2 examples from the book. One that discussed white privilege and said that the United States is built on systemic and structural racism. All of that, by the way, is true. And another that Ivey's office claimed teaches LGBTQ plus inclusion to 4-year-olds. Those sections, according to the copy of the 881-page book obtained by the Associated Press, discuss combating bias and making sure that all children feel welcome. Oh, okay. Wow, again, apparently they have a problem with making sure that all children feel welcome. Gay people? No, we're going to teach them that they're not welcome. What happens if there's a kid that might be, showing signs that they're LGBTQ? Or maybe has a parent, parents that are LGBTQ. What about that? Well, apparently, people in Alabama, in government at least, want them to be bullied. That's it. Bully them, have the teachers probably join in on him, allow the other kids to bully them. For LGBTQ youth, that bullying does lead to horrible things happening. Suicidal ideation. But I'm going to stress that this is actually exactly what they want. They know this already. Look, Michael Knowles came out and said his goal, their goal, is to eradicate transgenderism from society. Now, being transgender is an innate part of who you are, just like being gay. Okay? So if your goal is to eliminate that, then by definition, you are also eliminating the person. You are eliminating gay people. You're eliminating trans people. Look, it's right now started with trans people. They're going to go after gay people again, because they already had before, until that became unpalatable. But here's the thing. In order to go after all of those groups, they have to eliminate the acceptance of them. And so why do you think they target the youth? Here's the thing. No one is born to be a hateful person. No one is born racist. No one is born a homophobe or a transphobe. That's not a thing. No, those things are taught. They're taught by people. Okay. Now, the reason that they go after, for example, teaching LGBTQ acceptance in schools, and the fact that there is structural racism and how to avoid that and how to avoid bias, is because they prefer that there is that bias. They prefer that there is that hatred. They don't want to push back against bigotry and racism. And look, it's no coincidence that all these right-wingers at the same time that they're, pushing and passing laws like don't say gay. They're banning books, involving LGBTQ plus characters and all that. They're also making their own children's books that push their own themes. They know what they're doing. And what they're doing is Nazi shit. Now, there's one early childhood researcher that was especially troubled by this entire thing. Here's what she responded to the story online, saying that Cooper's ouster was, quote, massively concerning, and I suspect it echoes what many teachers and districts have had to navigate locally. This book was NAEYC EYC developed a resource and used as a guide, not a curriculum. And while Alabama rates poorly in public education performance overall, she remarked that the state is commonly hailed as a success in early childhood education. Well, hey, Alabama, if they keep going this way, they'll soon rank poorly in all education, in everything education related. And that's for them, that's a point of pride. That's what they want to do. They want to celebrate ignorance and then move on to now teaching hatred and bigotry.